The pain you keep hiding from others is the place where God is calling you to surrender today. If you are watching this late at night, after a long day of work, and worry your Father sees the thoughts you never speak and the burdens you quietly carry, this message invites you to stop running from your heart and return to God with honest faith, humility, and love. Before we continue, subscribe and join this community of people seeking to follow Christ with sincerity and daily obedience, not for perfection, but for a transformed life through God's grace. Today you will be reminded that suffering does not mean you are forgotten, and that surrender opens your heart to the peace found in trusting your Father completely. Listen carefully, because Christ's teachings reveal how to release fear, forgive deeply, pray faithfully, and live with a heart fully devoted to God today. Number 1. Receive my love and release your hidden pain today. Before this day ends, I want you to stop hiding from the place that still hurts. I see the wound you keep covered while you smile at work and answer messages and carry responsibilities that never seem to end. I see the nights when the house grows quiet and your mind fills with old words that still sting. I see the disappointment you have buried because you believe no one would understand. Do not pretend before me. I already know your heart. I did not come for those who think they have no need. I came to call those who know they cannot heal themselves without the mercy of God. Many people wake each morning and reach for distraction before they reach for prayer. They rush into another day, hoping that enough work, enough money, or enough approval will quiet the pain they carry. Yet the heart remains restless because it was never created to find life in temporary things. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. He is not waiting for you to impress Him. He is waiting for you to come honestly. Bring me the part of your life you keep locked away. Do not hide your fear, your anger, your shame, or your grief. The truth you refuse to face will continue to shape your choices until you place it before God. You have asked why some things happen to you. You have wondered why people you trusted caused such deep hurt. I will not tell you that evil is good, because it is not. I wept with those who wept. I was rejected, betrayed, and treated with cruelty. I know what suffering feels like. Yet I tell you this because it is true. Do not allow pain to become your master. If your wounds teach you to stop loving, then the wound continues to rule your life. Your Father desires something greater. He desires to make your heart alive again through His love. Listen carefully. You cannot receive my peace while holding tightly to the belief that you must carry every burden alone. Come to me with your weariness. Lay down the weight you have carried for years. Stop telling yourself that you must stay strong by yourself. Strength is found in trusting your Father. Humility begins when you admit that you need His grace more than your own plans. Begin today with one simple act. Before you touch your phone tomorrow morning, sit quietly before God. Speak honestly. Tell Him where you are hurting. Thank Him for His mercy before asking for anything else. Ask Him to teach you how to love even when your heart feels tired. Ask Him to shape your thoughts before the world fills your mind with noise. This small choice can change the direction of your whole day, because your heart learns to follow what it seeks first. When someone speaks harshly to you today, do not answer with the first angry thought that rises inside you. Pause. Pray. Remember how patiently your Father has dealt with you. Choose words that bring peace instead of more pain. If you have wronged someone, then confess it quickly. If someone has wounded you, then refuse to keep feeding bitterness inside your heart. Forgiveness does not call evil good. Forgiveness places justice into the hands of God, instead of allowing resentment to control your life. Tonight, before you sleep, examine your heart. Do not make excuses. Ask yourself where you chose fear instead of faith. Ask where pride ruled your actions instead of love. Thank your Father for every evidence of His goodness, no matter how small. Receive His forgiveness with gratitude and ask for strength to obey Him tomorrow. This is how the heart is trained, day after day, through repentance, faith, and love. Do not believe the lie that you are too damaged to be restored. I sought people who were broken because they were ready to receive mercy. Your past does not have the final word when you surrender your life to God. The Father is patient. His grace is greater than your failures. His invitation remains open today. So stop running from the place that still aches. Bring it into the light. Receive my love with the humility of someone who knows they cannot save themselves. Let the love of God become stronger than the pain that has defined your life. Follow me one faithful step at a time. Life is shorter than you think. Do not waste another day carrying what your Father is ready to help you lay down. Open your heart now and begin walking in the freedom that comes from trusting Him completely. Number 2. Trust my Father when suffering has shaken your heart. When suffering has shaken your heart, do not decide that your Father has left you. That thought may feel true in the middle of your pain, but feelings are not your master. Look at the direction of your life. How many choices have been ruled by fear instead of faith? How many words have been spoken before you stopped to seek God? How many mornings have begun with noise before you listened for His voice? Your heart grows unsteady when it follows everything except the one who gives life. I call you back today not because I wish to condemn you, but because I desire to lead you into truth that cannot be shaken. You live in a world that urges you to measure your worth by success, appearance, income, and the opinions of others. You watch people who seem to be moving ahead, while your own burdens remain heavy. You wonder why your prayers seem slower than your plans. Guard your heart against these judgments. Your Father never asked you to compare your path with another person's journey. He asked you to follow me. The eye that is fixed on someone else's life cannot clearly see the work God is doing within its own soul. Do not allow hardship to become an excuse for distrust. When storms came upon the sea, I told my disciples not to let fear rule them. Their danger was real, but their first battle was not against the wind. Their first battle was inside their own hearts. The same is true for you. Every trial asks one question before any other. Will you trust your Father even when you cannot yet understand what He is doing? Faith begins where the demand for complete explanation ends. Pay close attention to your thoughts because they quietly become your words, your decisions, and your habits. Not every thought deserves your agreement. When your mind says that you are abandoned, answer with the truth that your Father knows every need before you speak. When your mind says that your future is hopeless, remember that worry cannot add a single hour to your life. When resentment begins to grow, refuse to feed it. Bring every thought into the light of God's truth before allowing it to settle in your heart. Begin tomorrow with a different order. Before your feet carry you into another busy day, kneel in prayer. Thank your Father for the gift of life, even if your circumstances have not changed. Ask Him to guide your thoughts before your emotions begin making decisions for you. Ask for the grace to notice every moment when fear tries to replace trust. This is not an empty routine. This is the training of a heart that chooses God's voice before every other voice. Throughout your day, practice a holy pause. Before answering the message that offends you, pause. Before reacting to criticism, pause. Before speaking in anger, pause. In that quiet moment, ask whether your next words will reflect love for God and love for your neighbor. Many regrets begin with a reaction that was never surrendered. Wisdom grows in the space where prayer comes before response. Do not carry responsibilities that belong only to God. You are called to faithfulness, not to control every outcome. You cannot force another person to change. You cannot guarantee tomorrow. You cannot secure your life through endless striving. Your task is to obey what your Father has placed before you today. Leave tomorrow in His hands. The burden becomes lighter when you stop trying to sit where only God belongs. At the end of this day, sit quietly before your Father and examine your heart with honesty. Where did fear guide your choices? Where did pride refuse correction? Where did you ignore an opportunity to show mercy? Do not hide these things. Confess them with humility. Receive God's forgiveness with gratitude. Then rise with the intention to obey more faithfully tomorrow than you did today. This daily return keeps the heart soft and ready to follow. Remember that I never promised my followers a life without sorrow. I promised my presence and my peace to those who remain in me. The world may continue to change around you. Your schedule may remain demanding. The bills may still arrive. Relationships may still require patience and sacrifice. Yet none of these things can separate you from the love of your Father when you continue to trust Him. So let your suffering become a place where faith grows deeper instead of weaker. Refuse to let pain teach you bitterness when your Father desires to teach you perseverance, hope, and love. Place your thoughts under God's truth each morning. Surrender your fears each time they appear. Walk in obedience, one decision at a time. Trust your Father with what you cannot carry. He is faithful even when the road is difficult and the heart is weary. Do not turn away now. Keep following me, and you will discover that the safest place for your life has always been in the will of God. Number 3. Forgive those who wounded you and follow me faithfully. The wound you keep reopening has become a voice inside your mind. It speaks before you do. It shapes your expectations before another person has even said a word. It tells you to stay guarded because you might be hurt again. It teaches you to assume the worst before giving anyone the chance to show kindness. Do not allow that voice to become your guide. If you let yesterday govern today, then your heart is no longer following me. It is following the memory of pain. You know the names of those who disappointed you. You remember promises that were broken and words that were never taken back. Some injuries reached so deeply that they changed how you look at yourself. I do not ask you to pretend those things never happened. I ask you to refuse to let another person's sin become the master of your own heart. If resentment directs your thoughts, then the injury continues long after the moment has passed. Freedom begins when you place judgment into your Father's hands, instead of carrying it as your own burden. Look carefully at the thoughts you accept without questioning them. When your mind says that every person will fail you, examine that belief before you embrace it. When anger urges you to replay old conversations again and again, refuse to feed that habit. The heart becomes what it repeatedly welcomes. If bitterness is welcomed each day, it will soon shape your words, your decisions, and your relationships. Guard your heart by returning every thought to the truth that your Father alone is perfectly faithful. Do not confuse forgiveness with approval of wrongdoing. Love does not celebrate evil. Love tells the truth while refusing revenge. Your Father sees every hidden act and every secret motive. Justice belongs to Him. Your calling is different. You are called to overcome evil with faithful obedience. You cannot heal yourself by planning how another person should repay their debt. You begin to heal when you release the right to be ruled by that debt any longer. Start your morning by bringing every wounded memory before your Father, instead of carrying it into the day. Speak honestly. Tell Him where trust has become difficult. Ask Him to search your heart and reveal where pride and hurt have joined together. Receive His mercy before demanding anything from anyone else. A heart that remembers its own need for forgiveness becomes slower to condemn and quicker to seek peace. As you move through your day, watch the first movement of your heart. Someone may ignore you. A harsh comment may catch you by surprise. A family member may repeat an old pattern that disappoints you. Before your mouth answers, ask one question. Will my next words reflect the mercy I have received from God? This pause is an act of obedience. It interrupts the habit of reacting and opens the door for love to lead instead of wounded pride. Be willing to examine your own life with the same honesty you expect from others. It is easy to count another person's failures while overlooking your own. Remove the obstacles inside your own heart before trying to correct someone else. Humility is not weakness. Humility is the courage to stand before your Father without excuses. The person who welcomes correction grows stronger than the person who spends every day proving someone else wrong. Choose simple acts of mercy that train your heart. Pray for the person who has caused you pain, even if your emotions resist. Speak truth without cruelty. Refuse gossip, even when others invite you into it. Serve someone who cannot repay you. These choices reshape the inner life, because they place love above wounded pride. They teach your heart to resemble mine, rather than the spirit of this world. Before you rest tonight, sit quietly with your Father. Ask where resentment tried to settle inside you. Ask where fear kept you from showing kindness. Thank Him for every opportunity to forgive, even when it felt costly. His grace is not exhausted by your weakness. Return to Him each evening with honesty, and rise each morning, ready to begin again. Follow me with a heart that refuses to be chained to yesterday. Forgiveness is not forgetting the truth. Forgiveness is trusting your Father more than your pain. Let His love govern your thinking before your memories do. Let His truth shape your reactions before old habits take control. Walk this path one faithful decision at a time. As you surrender your right to hold on to bitterness, you will discover that the freedom you sought was never found in another person's apology, but in living each day under the loving rule of your Father. Number 4. Bring every anxious thought before God through humble prayer. The anxiety that follows you through the day did not become powerful in a single moment. It has been welcomed little by little, each time you allowed fearful thoughts to settle in your heart without bringing them before your Father. You have imagined tomorrow before living faithfully today. You have rehearsed conversations that never happened. You have carried burdens that were never given to you. Then you wondered why your soul felt weary. I tell you the truth. A heart that tries to rule its own future will never find rest. Peace begins when you surrender what belongs to God, instead of claiming it as your own responsibility. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. If this is true, then why does your mind continue to race from one worry to another? It is because you have often trusted your own reasoning more than His faithful care. You have believed that constant concern is the same as wisdom. It is not. Worry cannot produce the future you desire. It only steals your attention from the grace your Father is giving you in this present moment. Faithfulness grows where trust replaces the demand to know every outcome. Do not accept every thought simply because it enters your mind. Many thoughts arrive without truth. Some accuse you, some tempt you to despair. Some tell you that everything depends upon your strength alone. Examine each one carefully. Ask whether it agrees with what your Father has revealed. If a thought leads you away from hope, humility, obedience, or love, then do not build your life upon it. Let God's truth become the measure by which every thought is tested. You have been taught by the world to react quickly. You answer before listening. You judge before understanding. You fill silence because quiet makes you uncomfortable. Yet I often withdrew to pray before speaking or acting. Learn from my example. Do not fear stillness. In silence, your heart begins to notice how many restless thoughts have been directing your days. Prayer is not an escape from reality. Prayer is where your soul is trained to see reality through the faithfulness of your Father. Tomorrow morning, begin differently. Before you open the door to the demands waiting for you, kneel before God. Do not rush through empty words. Tell your Father exactly what troubles you. Name each fear honestly, then surrender every one of them into His hands. Ask for the wisdom to recognize the next faithful step, instead of asking to control every step that follows. Leave your place of prayer with gratitude rather than panic. Gratitude reminds the heart that God has already been faithful before this new day has fully begun. Throughout your work, your conversations, and your responsibilities, practice returning your thoughts to God whenever anxiety appears. If your mind begins to imagine failure, pause and pray before continuing. If you feel overlooked, refuse to compare your life with someone else's path. If uncertainty tempts you to complain, remember that your Father has never asked you to carry tomorrow before it arrives. He asks you to be faithful where you are standing now. Obedience in the present is greater than endless speculation about the future. Be careful not to confuse constant activity with faithful living. You can fill every hour with effort while neglecting the condition of your heart. A hurried life often hides an anxious spirit. Make room each day to stop and examine what has been ruling your thoughts. Ask yourself whether love has guided your words. Ask whether pride has demanded recognition. Ask whether fear has replaced trust. Honest self-examination keeps your heart open to correction before harmful habits become firmly rooted. When evening comes, do not end the day by carrying unresolved worry into your rest. Sit quietly before your Father. Thank Him for the ways He sustained you even where you failed to notice His care. Confess the moments when anxiety spoke louder than faith. Receive His mercy without pretending that you have earned it. His grace is given freely to those who come with humble hearts. Sleep becomes lighter when the soul has released its burdens into faithful hands. I have not called you to live as a prisoner of anxious thinking. I have called you to seek first the kingdom of God and to trust your Father with what lies beyond your reach. Every anxious thought is an invitation to return to prayer. Every fearful moment is an opportunity to remember who truly governs your life. Walk this path each day with humility. Bring your whole heart before God. Let His truth guide your mind more than your emotions. Then you will discover a peace that does not depend upon easier circumstances, but upon the unchanging faithfulness of your Father. Number 5. Leave your heavy burdens with me and rest completely. You have become accustomed to carrying weight that your Father never asked you to bear. You wake already exhausted because your mind begins working before your heart has turned toward God. You measure the day by unfinished tasks and unanswered questions. You tell yourself that if you think longer and work harder, you will finally feel secure. Yet your soul remains restless because you have mistaken self-reliance for faithfulness. I tell you to come to me, not after you have solved every problem, but while you are still weary. Rest begins when you stop believing that everything depends upon you. Look honestly at what has been shaping your thoughts. You replay yesterday's mistakes as though shame could rewrite them. You imagine every possible failure before taking the next faithful step. You carry responsibility for another person's choices, even though you cannot direct another heart. These habits do not bring wisdom. They keep you occupied with burdens that belong to your Father. The heart becomes heavy when it refuses to release what was never placed into its hands. Many people spend their days trying to control what cannot be controlled. They chase certainty where only trust will do. They seek peace by arranging circumstances instead of surrendering themselves to God. But I did not teach you to build your life upon changing conditions. I taught you to seek your Father's will above your own. When His will becomes your desire, the mind no longer has to carry the impossible task of mastering tomorrow. Each morning before the demands of the day begin, enter a quiet place and bring your whole life before your Father. Do not offer polished words while hiding your true condition. Tell Him what feels too heavy. Speak of the pressures that keep your heart awake at night. Then ask one simple thing. Ask for the grace to obey Him today without borrowing trouble from tomorrow. Leave that place believing that your Father heard you because He delights in those who come to Him with humble trust. Throughout the day, pay attention to the moment when your peace begins to disappear. That moment often reveals the thought you accepted without examining. Perhaps you believed you must satisfy everyone. Perhaps you decided your value depends upon success. Perhaps you feared losing something you cannot keep forever. Stop when you notice these thoughts. Hold them before God's truth. Ask whether they agree with the life I have called you to live. What does not agree with my teaching should not remain in your heart. When someone disappoints you, resist the urge to carry that frustration for the rest of the day. When your plans change unexpectedly, refuse to let complaint become your companion. When uncertainty enters your path, remember that obedience is always possible, even when outcomes remain hidden. Your Father asks for faithfulness in this present hour. He has not asked you to carry every future moment at once. Rest is not found by escaping responsibility. Rest is found by walking with your Father through every responsibility. Continue your work with honesty. Care for your family with love. Keep your promises. Serve those around you without seeking praise. Yet hold every task with open hands. Do not allow any earthly duty to become greater than your trust in God. The person who serves with humility, while depending upon the Father, carries a lighter heart than the one who serves, while depending only upon personal strength. As evening approaches, return to your Father before sleep. Review the day with honesty instead of regret. Notice where you held tightly to fear, instead of trusting His care. Notice where pride convinced you that everything rested upon your effort alone. Confess these things without hiding. Receive His mercy with gratitude. Then release the day completely. You cannot relive it, and you do not need to carry it into tomorrow. Your Father remains faithful while you sleep. Do not believe that endless striving is the same as faithful living. Martha was anxious and distracted by many tasks, while Mary chose to sit and listen. I did not condemn faithful service, but I revealed that communion with God comes first. Let your heart learn that lesson. Make time each day to remain in my words before running toward endless demands. A soul nourished by God's truth is prepared to meet every responsibility with wisdom instead of panic. Come to me with the burdens you have hidden behind a busy schedule and a determined face. Bring your fears, your unanswered questions, your disappointments, and your tired heart. Lay them before me with complete honesty. Trust your Father more than your own anxious reasoning. Walk one faithful step at a time, keeping your eyes upon the kingdom of God. There you will discover that true rest is not the absence of responsibility, but the quiet confidence that your life is safely held in the hands of the one who loves you perfectly. Number 6. Turn from self-reliance and choose faithful obedience today. You have been taught that the strongest person is the one who depends on no one. You have carried that lesson into your heart until you believed that asking for God's help was a sign of weakness. Yet look honestly at where that path has led you. You have exhausted yourself trying to manage every outcome. You have measured your value by what you accomplish instead of by your relationship with your Father. You have filled your mind with plans while leaving little room for prayer. This is not the life I called you to live. The branch cannot bear fruit by separating itself from the vine. In the same way, your soul cannot flourish when it depends only upon itself. Self-reliance often hides beneath respectable habits. It appears when you make decisions without seeking God's wisdom. It grows when success convinces you that your strength is enough. It speaks when failure tells you that everything rests upon your own ability. Both pride and despair come from the same mistaken belief that your life belongs entirely in your own hands. I have called you to something different. Trust your Father with your whole heart, and let obedience become greater than personal confidence. Pay attention to the quiet conversation taking place inside your mind. When a difficult choice appears, do you first ask what pleases God or what protects your comfort? When your plans are interrupted, do you become angry because your own will has been challenged? When recognition passes you by, do you believe your worth has been diminished? These questions reveal who is sitting upon the throne of your heart. Whatever rules your thoughts will soon direct your actions. Many people ask for my blessing while refusing my direction. They want peace without surrender. They desire comfort without repentance. They hope for guidance while holding tightly to their own agenda. This divided heart cannot walk faithfully. If you call me Lord, then let your choices reflect that confession. Hearing my words without living them leaves the foundation of your life weak when trials arrive. Obedience is not merely agreement. Obedience is truth carried into action. Begin each morning by surrendering your plans before presenting your requests. Before the demands of work, family, or responsibility fill your attention, kneel before your Father and pray with an open heart. Say that His will is greater than your own desires. Ask Him to reveal any selfish ambition hiding beneath good intentions. Invite Him to direct your steps, even when His path differs from the one you imagined. A heart that begins the day in surrender becomes ready to recognize God's guidance throughout ordinary moments. As you move through the day, Slow your thinking whenever strong emotions begin making decisions for you. Frustration may urge you to speak quickly. Fear may pressure you to grasp for control. Pride may whisper that you already know what is best. Do not obey the first impulse that rises within you. Bring it before your Father. Ask whether your next decision reflects love for God and love for your neighbor. This simple discipline guards your heart from becoming a servant of passing emotions. Do not compare your calling with another person's life. Your Father has not invited you into competition. He has invited you into faithfulness. Comparison tempts you to question His wisdom instead of trusting His care. The person who keeps looking sideways will struggle to walk the path placed directly ahead. Keep your attention upon what your Father has entrusted to you today. Faithfulness in small acts of obedience is precious in His sight. There will be moments when following me costs you something. You may need to forgive when revenge feels easier. You may need to tell the truth when deception promises advantage. You may need to choose integrity when no one else is watching. In those moments, remember that obedience is never wasted. Your Father sees what others overlook. He forms your character through every faithful choice, even when no earthly reward follows. When the day comes to an end, do not judge yourself only by what you completed. Instead, examine your heart before your Father. Ask where you trusted your own understanding more than His wisdom. Ask where fear replaced obedience. Ask where love should have guided your words more completely. Receive His mercy with gratitude, then prepare to walk more faithfully tomorrow. This honest examination keeps pride from taking root and keeps your heart teachable. I did not call you to build your life upon your own strength, because your strength was never meant to carry that weight. I called you to follow me with humility, trusting your Father one step at a time. Lay down the burden of proving yourself. Release the illusion that everything depends upon your effort. Choose faithful obedience today. The person who surrenders fully to God's will discovers a freedom that cannot be earned through achievement, because true life is found not in self-reliance, but in walking each day with the Father who never fails. Number 7. Love your neighbor with patience, mercy, and honest compassion. The way you treat other people reveals the true condition of your heart more clearly than the words you speak about your faith. It is easy to appear patient when life is comfortable. It is easy to speak kindly when nothing has been taken from you. But when you are interrupted, misunderstood, criticized, or disappointed, what rises from within you shows what has been shaping your inner life. Do not blame your circumstances for what comes out of your mouth. Your reactions expose the thoughts you have been allowing to remain unchallenged. I desire to transform the heart so that love becomes your natural response instead of your last resort. Many of your conflicts begin long before another person says a single word. They begin with judgments formed inside your own mind. You decide someone's motives before asking a question. You assume rejection before receiving an answer. You expect selfishness because you have trained yourself to look for it. These hidden conclusions become the foundation of strained relationships. Slow down and examine them. Do not give your agreement to every opinion your mind produces. A heart guided by truth waits before judging, because it knows that your Father alone sees every secret intention. I commanded you to love your neighbor because love is the fulfillment of what your Father desires from those who follow me. Love is not merely warm feelings toward those who are easy to embrace. Love chooses mercy when offense seems justified. Love remains truthful without becoming cruel. Love seeks another person's good, even when no reward is expected. If you claim to know my Father while refusing to love those around you, then you have not yet allowed His truth to govern your heart. Begin every morning by asking your Father to shape your attitude before you meet another person. Do not first ask for success or comfort. Ask for eyes that notice those who are weary. Ask for ears willing to listen before speaking. Ask for a spirit that values people above personal convenience. Then carry that prayer with you into every ordinary place you enter. The opportunities to love faithfully are often found in simple moments that many people ignore. Throughout the day, pay close attention to the instant your patience begins to disappear. Perhaps someone delays your plans. Perhaps a family member repeats a habit that frustrates you. Perhaps a coworker receives credit you believed belonged to you. Before you respond, stop and bring your thoughts before your Father. Ask whether pride has begun demanding its own way. Ask whether your next words will reflect the mercy you have already received. A brief pause offered to God can prevent hours of regret. Do not spend your energy comparing your life with the lives of others. Comparison quietly steals compassion because it teaches you to measure people instead of serving them. When your attention remains fixed upon what someone else possesses, gratitude fades and love grows weak. Your Father has entrusted you with today's opportunities, not another person's calling. Be faithful where He has placed you, and let contentment make room for generosity. There will be moments when loving your neighbor requires sacrifice. You may need to forgive before an apology comes. You may need to encourage someone while carrying burdens of your own. You may need to remain gentle when another person speaks with anger. Do not mistake these choices for weakness. The greatest strength is found in a heart that refuses to answer evil with evil. In this way, you reflect the character of your Father, who shows kindness even to those who have not yet turned toward Him. Make honest self-examination part of your evening. Sit quietly before your Father and review the people you encountered throughout the day. Ask where impatience ruled your speech. Ask where selfish ambition prevented compassion. Ask where fear kept you from showing kindness. Do not excuse these moments or hide them. Confess them openly. Receive God's mercy, and ask for a heart that loves more faithfully tomorrow. Growth begins when you stop defending your faults and allow your Father to correct them. Remember that every person you meet carries burdens you cannot fully see. The one who appears distant may be grieving. The one who speaks sharply may be deeply afraid. The one who seems difficult still bears the dignity given by your Father. Let this truth soften your judgments. You are not called to know every hidden story. You are called to respond with patience, mercy, and honest compassion. Walk with me today by making love your first decision instead of your final option. Let your thoughts be examined before they become words. Let your words be shaped by grace before they become actions. Place every relationship into your Father's hands instead of trying to control people through frustration or fear. As you continue choosing mercy over pride and compassion over judgment, your life will become a living witness that the love of God has truly taken root within your heart. Number 8. Seek God's kingdom before chasing temporary earthly security. Always look carefully at what receives the first attention of your heart each day, because that is where your true treasure already rests. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind often begins calculating expenses, planning achievements, solving problems, and worrying about what might happen next. Your thoughts race toward temporary security before they turn toward your Father. Then you wonder why peace feels distant. A heart that seeks everything except God's kingdom cannot enjoy the rest that only His presence provides. What rules your first thoughts will quietly shape every decision that follows. You have been surrounded by voices that tell you your life will become secure when you earn more, possess more, or receive greater approval from others. Those promises never satisfy because they ask your soul to trust things that cannot remain forever. Wealth changes. Careers rise and fall. Health can weaken. Human praise comes and goes. If your hope is built upon these things, then fear will become your constant companion, because you will always worry about losing what cannot last. Your Father calls you to place your confidence where nothing can take it away. Do not allow your thinking to be ruled by the illusion that more possessions will quiet an anxious heart. The deepest hunger within you is not for greater comfort, but for deeper fellowship with God. You were created to know your Father and to walk in faithful obedience. When that relationship becomes your highest priority, the other responsibilities of life find their proper place. You still work diligently. You still provide for your family. You still plan wisely. Yet none of these things become the master of your soul. Pay close attention to the stories you tell yourself throughout the day. When your mind whispers that you are falling behind, ask whether you are comparing your journey with someone else's instead of trusting your Father's wisdom. When you feel driven by fear of the future, ask whether you have forgotten who holds tomorrow. Every thought should be brought into the light before it is allowed to settle in your heart. Do not believe every fear simply because it speaks loudly. Test it against the truth that your Father knows your needs before you ask Him. Tomorrow morning, make one decision before any other. Set aside the first part of your day for prayer and the reading of God's Word. Do not give the opening moments of your mind to endless demands. Offer them first to your Father. Thank Him for His faithfulness. Ask Him to teach you how to seek His kingdom above your own ambitions. Invite Him to guide your choices before the world begins asking for your attention. This simple act trains your heart to remember who truly leads your life. As the day unfolds, you will face many opportunities to choose between anxiety and trust. A financial concern may appear. An unexpected expense may test your confidence. Someone else's success may tempt you toward envy. Stop before these thoughts become your master. Return your attention to your Father. Ask whether your next decision reflects faith or fear. Obedience often begins with a quiet choice inside the heart, long before anyone else notices it. Guard yourself against believing that constant striving is proof of faithfulness. Your Father values obedience more than restless ambition. Work with honesty and excellence, but refuse to let your identity depend upon what you accomplish. Serve others without making recognition your reward. Let generosity replace the fear that says there will never be enough. A heart that trusts God can hold earthly blessings with gratitude while refusing to worship them. Before you close each day, spend time examining where your heart has wandered. Ask yourself what occupied your thoughts most often. Consider whether temporary concerns became greater than eternal truth. Notice the moments when worry pushed prayer aside, or when comparison weakened gratitude. Bring these discoveries before your Father without hiding. His mercy is ready to restore every heart that comes with humility and a desire to change. Remember that I did not promise a life free from responsibility. I called you to carry out every responsibility while remaining devoted to God's kingdom above all else. Your Father knows that you need food, clothing, shelter, and daily provision. He has never asked you to ignore these realities. He asks you not to make them the foundation of your hope. Let your trust rest in Him while you faithfully complete the work He has placed before you. Seek God's kingdom today with your whole heart. Let every decision begin with the question of what pleases your Father, rather than what protects your comfort. Place every ambition beneath His authority. Release the need to secure your future through endless worry. Walk in quiet confidence, because your life is held by the One who sees every need before you speak. When His kingdom becomes your first pursuit, you will discover that lasting security has never been found in temporary things, but in the faithful presence of your Father, who never changes. Number 9. Remain faithful through hardship, because I have never abandoned you. Hardship has a way of asking you questions that comfort never asks. When the future becomes uncertain and your strength begins to fail, you discover what your heart has truly been trusting. If your confidence is rested upon circumstances, then every disappointment feels like the collapse of your foundation. But if your life is built upon your Father, then even painful seasons cannot remove the hope He has planted within you. Do not mistake a difficult road for an abandoned life. My presence is not measured by the ease of your circumstances, but by my faithfulness to those who continue to follow me. Your greatest struggle is often not the hardship itself, but the story you begin telling yourself because of it. You say that your prayers have been forgotten. You assume that delay means rejection. You conclude that suffering proves your Father has become distant. Stop and examine these judgments before you accept them as truth. Your thoughts must become servants of God's Word, instead of masters over your heart. A false conclusion believed long enough can shape your choices more than the trial itself. When I spoke about building upon solid ground, I did not promise that storms would never come. I taught that the difference is found in the foundation. Rain falls upon every house, winds strike every life. Yet the one who hears my words and lives by them remains standing, because obedience has made the foundation strong. Do not spend your energy asking why hardship exists while neglecting the condition of the life you are building each day. Let every trial drive you deeper into faithful obedience rather than into resentment. Begin each morning by remembering who your Father is before thinking about what the day may bring. Do not allow fear to become the first voice you hear. Pray with a humble heart and thank Him for His steadfast love before asking Him to change your circumstances. Ask Him to strengthen your faith more than your comfort. Ask Him to teach you endurance instead of demanding immediate escape. These prayers reshape the soul because they seek God's will before personal relief. As you walk through the day, guard your inner conversation carefully. When discouragement whispers that your efforts are meaningless, answer with faithful action instead of surrendering to despair. Continue doing what is right, even when no one notices. Continue speaking truth with kindness, even when others choose anger. Continue showing mercy, even when gratitude does not return. Faithfulness is not measured by immediate results. Faithfulness is measured by a heart that continues to obey because it trusts the Father. There will be moments when you are tempted to compare your journey with someone who appears to have an easier path. Resist that temptation immediately. Comparison blinds you to God's work within your own life. Your Father has never asked you to carry another person's calling. He has entrusted you with today's opportunities to love, to forgive, to serve, and to remain faithful where you are. Looking constantly at someone else's road will only keep you from walking your own. Do not carry tomorrow's burdens into today's obedience. Your mind often becomes exhausted because it lives in days that have not yet arrived. Bring your attention back to the present responsibility your Father has placed before you. Ask yourself what faithful step He is calling you to take right now. Obedience grows one decision at a time. A life of faith is not built by one great moment, but by countless quiet acts of trust offered day after day. When evening comes, do not measure the value of your day only by visible success. Sit quietly before your Father and examine your heart. Notice where fear tried to replace trust. Notice where disappointment tempted you to doubt His goodness. Confess every anxious thought that pulled you away from His truth. Receive His mercy with gratitude and rest in the confidence that He continues His work within you, even when progress feels slow. Remember that I walked the path of suffering without turning away from my Father's will. I remained faithful because I trusted Him completely. I now call you to walk that same path with courage. You are not asked to pretend that hardship is easy. You are called to remain steadfast within it. The Father who watches over you has not forgotten your name, your prayers, or your tears. His love has not diminished because your circumstances have become difficult. So remain faithful today. Let hardship become a place where your trust grows stronger instead of weaker. Refuse to let fear govern your thoughts or disappointment shape your identity. Return to your Father each morning with prayer. Examine your heart throughout the day and surrender every burden that belongs only to Him. Keep following me with quiet confidence. I have never abandoned those who remain in my love, and I will continue leading every faithful heart toward the life that cannot be shaken. Number 10. Follow me daily and discover lasting peace through surrendered faith. You have spent many days searching for peace in places that cannot provide it. You have looked for it in achievement, in approval, in comfort, and in the hope that one more accomplishment will finally make your heart quiet. Yet the noise continues because the deepest need of your soul is not found in controlling life, but in surrendering it to God. I call you today to stop running after what cannot satisfy and to walk with me in faithful obedience. The peace you desire begins when your heart stops resisting the will of your Father. Following me is not a single decision made once and forgotten. It is a daily surrender of your thoughts, desires, habits, and choices. Each morning you are given another opportunity to decide who will guide your life. Will you follow the fears that rise within you? Will you follow the demands of the world around you? Or will you listen to the voice of your Father and walk according to His truth? The direction of your life is formed through the small choices you repeat when no one else is watching. Examine your heart honestly. How often do you allow a difficult moment to steal your peace for the entire day? How often do you let another person's opinion determine how you see yourself? How often do you chase things that promise satisfaction but leave you empty afterward? These patterns reveal where your heart has been seeking security apart from God. Do not ignore these signs. Bring them before your Father with humility, and allow Him to transform what you cannot change by your own strength. A surrendered life begins with attention. Before the day becomes filled with responsibilities, create space for prayer. Speak with your Father before speaking to the world. Ask Him to guide your desires so that you do not spend your life chasing things that cannot give eternal life. Ask Him to help you love what is good, reject what pulls you away from Him, and recognize the difference between what you want and what you truly need. A heart that begins with God learns to walk with God throughout the day. As you face decisions, remember that not every opportunity deserves your pursuit. Not every desire deserves your obedience. Not every emotion deserves your response. Bring your choices before the wisdom of your Father. When anger rises, choose patience. When temptation appears, choose faithfulness. When pride demands recognition, choose humility. Following me means allowing God's truth to become stronger than your impulses. The world teaches you to protect yourself first, promote yourself first, and place your own desires above everything else. But I taught you that the greatest life is found through love and service. The person who loses their life for the sake of God's kingdom discovers a life greater than anything temporary success can offer. Surrender does not destroy who you are. It frees you from being controlled by every passing desire and every changing circumstance. Do not let comparison steal the joy of the path your Father has given you. Another person's progress does not reduce God's care for you. Another person's blessings do not mean you have been forgotten. Your purpose is not discovered by looking at the lives of others. It is discovered by faithfully walking with God today. The next step of obedience in front of you matters more than the path someone else is taking. At the end of each day, return to your Father and examine your heart. Ask where you followed your own desires instead of His wisdom. Ask where you chose comfort over obedience. Ask where you failed to show love when love was required. Do not run from these moments. Let them become opportunities for growth through grace. A disciple is not one who never falls, but one who continually returns to God with humility and faith. Peace does not come because every problem disappears. Peace comes because your heart has found the one who remains faithful through every circumstance. When your life is surrendered to God, uncertainty no longer has the final authority over your thoughts. You can face difficult days without being destroyed by them, because your foundation is not built upon temporary conditions. So follow me today, not only when life feels easy, not only when your prayers are answered quickly. Follow me in your work, in your relationships, in your private thoughts, and in the decisions no one else sees. Give your Father the first place in your heart, and allow His love to direct your steps. The life of surrender is the life of true freedom. Walk with me faithfully each day, and you will discover the lasting peace that comes from trusting God with everything.